Hello.
One more time, yes?
Yep. Welcome back to our podcast, number 29. Here with Mr. Mark Griffin.
Yeah, we're slowly catching up. The podcasts are catching up to the TAR matches. Of course, that's because it's harder to schedule a match than it is us.
Yeah.
We're
yeah,
readily accessible.
We were just talking about that.
Yes, sir. The
It's difficult.
scheduling.
And now with, we just had two big events in the Philippines. They didn't cancel the event, but the WPA withdrew sanction, which will probably screw certain people out of going.
Well, in essence, in reality, it's canceled. They just haven't officially. Macabenta, Raya Sports, is the producer. He just hasn't announced.
Yeah, because I have heard that the 10 ball was canceled through the grapevine, but they haven't made it an official. And then the WPA just pulled the sanction. So
That's the first time they've ever done that. And I'm not speaking out of school because their press release said the same thing, but the promoter, Mr. Macabenta, just wouldn't return phone calls and let them know what's going on, and they can't, I made a post, there was a Facebook thing going on or something, and I says, to me, this is the end result of all the infighting that goes on in the Philippines. They won't work together, and you do remember the first time Macabenta, or maybe it was the second time that Macabenta did the event, and Puyat and Bugsy and everybody boycotted it.
sure.
Well, to me, my way of thinking, this is the end result of all those boycotts.
Yeah,
It just
but,
makes that.
well, if you, but
division,
I don't know how you fix it. I don't know how.
I don't either.
I mean, it's
Let's
easy.
overdo it.
It's easy to say let's all work together, but
I know.
that's not the way the world works.
No, there's people I can't work with.
Right,
I know
exactly.
you. I mean, I understand. It's just unfortunate because the Philippines is, to me, is ground zero to pool, and they just lost 2 world-ranked events, and they're not going to get them back like that because now WPA is gun shy.
Yeah, but the WPA, the first guy to come up with the money is if you wanted to have the World 10 ball
Absolutely.
event right here, and you had enough money, they would do
Well,
it.
one of the guys in Qatar, Dubai, or one of those places just raised the world's 9 ball from 200 to 300,000.
Oh, good for him.
So, there's money out there. It just in America, it just won't work because you can't get the sponsorship.
Yeah. What else is going on? The U.S. Open, obviously.
Yeah, that's
they're cranking along right now.
And it's funny when they first started, 216 players, I think, or 219.
I heard 219 was the number I saw.
And everybody's saying, "Oh, it's light, it's light." Well, not really.
Yeah, I
The
mean,
economy's it's only been over that. That's their normal number.
Right.
They had a year or two. They
One
got to
year was
256 and
256.
251, and the rest of the time it's 220.
well, and you have to remember, at 256, that's when Barry was paying champions entry fees.
Oh yeah, sure.
Take
And
out
some
the
of those-
champions entry fees,
There's 15 players.
you're about 220, 230.
Well, but and a lot of those players just wouldn't utilize that, which I think was a shame.
Right.
And of course, there's posts that so what did the ABP get accomplished? They got that accomplished, but I think it was a trap that Barry was in.
Sure,
I think
it was a terrible trap.
And Derby City's in the same trap.
Yes.
It sounds great for the first year or two, but go 20 years and see how many people.
Right.
And it's expensive.
Yes,
it
it
is.
is.
It's $1,000 here, but you got to pay the. It's crazy. Barry was just paying the entries, but.
Well, but Barry, I know for a fact, also certain people, groups, it was a hotel room here, something there.
It's tough. So, the event seems to be going quite well. It's a new venue. I've heard both comments on the new venue. Where's Billy I, Mr. Incardona?
I don't know. Has he not been at the?
He's not been announcing at all.
That's
But
a
I will
shame.
say I enjoy Billy Gibbs. The way I like his style. A lot of people
I haven't
don't.
watched any of the AccuStat stuff. I haven't listened to anything.
I've watched minimal amount, but I like Billy Gibbs and the way I mean, Billy and Cardona's the best, obviously, but
I'm not sure I know who Billy Gibbs is.
he's got a you've heard his voice
Where?
on AccuStats. He's been around for a couple of years.
Doesn't ring a bell.
So the matches are going good. They say that they really like the intimacy and this room that the final table is
Sure.
in. But I think that room only has the TV table and maybe 4 other tables. There's
know.
3 rooms. One table only has 4 tables. One room, I believe, only has 4 tables. Very tight quarters, but quite nice because they just spent a ton remodeling it. And for Barrie, I've heard two things: 3 blocks and 1 mile, but it's not very far from the pool room. Somebody had a map of it. It wasn't a mile, but it was probably over 3 blocks. But good for him. You know, it's nice to see the event go. I wish it'd be, their charts were a little more free. You can't ever tell when anybody's going to play.
Yeah.
They need to put times on their charts, and maybe I'll approach Barrie again. I was offered to make the CTS available. He misunderstood and said, "Oh no, I've already got my crew set up." I says, "No, it's got nothing to do with crew or who's running the tournament or anything. But we're gonna have some new improvements on our CTS, so you can do it remote. So anybody can. We could actually do it from our office."
Right.
And it does everything. You know, it tells you when they're going to play, and you push a button, it tells who they've played, and and so that's pretty cool, because it would make his event better. So I'd like to help him out in that respect. He changed his payouts. We were just talking about that. I think top tier is $25,000. It's interesting. He made a press release. I was just looking at it. I was running some numbers, and yeah, somewhere. Oh, there he goes. See, I passed it right by. I figured everything on 216 players. I was just grabbing it. Only throw the percentages off a little bit. Under normal circumstances, with a full field, he would have been paying 3/8 of the field. 96 places out of 256 players. That's 37.5%. He's actually paying 44% this year. That's almost a little too strong for a professional event, because you're pushing so much towards the bottom, you're taking it away from the top. I mean, 4th place gets 6,000. He made some money, 4th place. But you get down, like you said earlier, 7th and 8th, 3,000 each. That's break even and a car payment.
Yeah.
Now, granted, 65th through 96 getting 800, I think that's wonderful. But see, that's almost an amateur payout. That's what we do. We
Yeah.
pay our amateurs 3/8 of the field, because you've got to give everybody a touch. This is the premier professional event, possibly in the world. Actually, you could make that argument. That's because we know the names of these
216,
guys.
I could see, personally, I could see paying to 24.
Oh, I wouldn't have gone that far. At 64,
Yeah.
if 64
I'm-
would have been 30%.
Hey, I'm
little over 30%.
Everybody talks poker and how cool poker is, and
Yeah,
why
they
can't
pay,
we get money?
10%.
Because they pay 10%. And the difference is, when you cash in a poker tournament, you actually make some money.
Yeah.
Now, with pool, you make just enough to
Go
starve.
broke. Yeah, I know.
So,
It's a different philosophy, and it's something that needs to be addressed. Because
and here's the catch-22 is, there's so much dead money in the tournament. Without the dead money, you won't have a tournament.
and now you're getting into the seeding discussion.
It's the same thing, but it all relates the same. And it's, in all honesty, it's not a true professional tournament.
I totally agree.
It's an open tournament that allows professional players.
I totally agree.
And
There is no professional tournament. You could make the
the
argument.
closest thing to a professional tournament would be like what they just did with Challenge of Champions. Strictly invitational, 4 guys, all professional.
I'm going to disagree with you there. I think the proper way to get a professional tournament is through the model that the BCA and the WPA and the EPBF. You're supposed to, each federation takes their strongest players and sends them to the Worlds. That's the proper way. But it gets a little skewed, because let's say I'm the 9th ranked best player in the U.S. and I don't get to go, but the top ranked player in Africa's going, and I could beat him with my hands behind my
No,
back.
you're talking world tournaments.
Well, that is World.
Yeah,
That's
I'm not
the
talking
deal.
about world. And the U.S. Open is a world tournament, but the name of the tournament is the U.S.
Yeah.
Open. So to me, I don't care about international tournaments. I mean, you know about them, you care about them. Some other 4 other people in the world do.
Yeah.
I would like to see something in the U.S. to where
Yeah, my concerns are way more for the U.S. than the world.
the world's just fine. They got money out there and they've got some organization, and they come over here and they cherry pick all the money.
Well, we've had that.
And
You were there 3 or 4 years ago, 5 years ago, 4 years ago at the U.S. Open. I passed out that survey because I was just kind of curious. The top first question was, do the players need an organization? Overwhelmingly, yes. And I said, should it be a North American organization or an international? And overwhelmingly, they said international. I find that so interesting because, hey, everybody loves Everin, which, by the way, that was a heck of a match he had today. But
Yeah, I feel bad for Appleton. That's a
Yeah.
cold roll.
Yeah, well.
It's hard enough when you're playing Efren, but you know, we'll go into the roll thing in a little while because that's something I want to rant on. But one guy out of the whole tournament has got a legitimate
yeah.
free pass. It's Appleton.
But anywho, you know, I didn't. You interrupted me. Now I forgot where I was.
Good.
Turnabout's fair play, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Seating, we can talk about seating or lack of, because it was a hot topic. It got a few press releases flying back and forth between APB and Barry Berman and the Billiard Congress of America, and a lot of posts on AZ Billiards. And
Like more than last time we talked.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I
We
don't-
beat that horse pretty good
Well,
last
I
time.
know there was a lot of discussion on it, but I mean, you know, I think everybody, the consensus was, yeah, seating is proper when you have a real live professional tour with real live rankings.
Sure.
Just grabbing 16 of your buddies or whatever, and that does not qualify. So,
No, I agree.
Because-
Well, once again, it goes back to me that if you have a pro tour, if you have a true pro tournament, I'm good. Seed. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Helps build stars.
Yep.
I agree 1,000%.
I think everybody.
But as long as you're making your living off of open tournaments where everybody pays the same entry fee and you got to rely on Joe Blow, the A player, to come in and fill your ranks, or else the tournament doesn't go.
Well, you'll kill that quote dead money.
Yep.
You'll chase them so far out the door, and the,
So-
the theme of probably this week's podcast to me is when you do something, you have to be very aware of what impact it has on the rest of the people in this industry. Seeding has a huge impact potentially on the stronger A players that say, "Screw it, I'm not going to play." So now they're impacting the promoters.
Perfect
It
example.
could take the whole. It could
In
take
my-
the tournament down.
In my mind, here's a perfect example. A guy like Jeff Beckley.
Yeah,
A guy like Jeff Beckley who won
the U.S. bar
the
table.
bar
eight ball,
table. Yeah.
He's a strong little player.
Great player.
Part-time player.
Yeah, exactly. Complete part-time player, but a good player, is capable of beating anybody on any given day.
Yeah.
I mean, but you know what? There's 200 Jeff Beckleys out there.
At least.
Yeah, and you know.
Sorry, Jeff.
No, that's why Jeff's a smart one.
Yeah.
Jeff got a good job.
Yeah.
You know, he works
Yeah.
for a living.
Yep. Yep.
You know, I mean, he's smart. He plays pool when he can play pool, and he
Yeah.
can win a tournament.
And he's one of those guys that can get up to speed in
Yeah.
1 hour practice.
Right. And but you know, there's, like I said, there's a lot of guys like that. There's 20, 30 guys like that in most tournaments. You know.
Seeding's going to chase a lot of them away.
Sure. Yeah.
And-
if they, you know, and by seeding, what's going to happen is, you know, okay, fine, you're going to go maybe 2 rounds in the winner's bracket, and you're guaranteed to play a killer. You know what I mean? I mean, guaranteed to play a killer. And so I'm for seeding in a professional environment. We don't have that now.
Sure, I know everybody makes reference to tennis and
I agree.
but
Tennis
they're
is a
all
pro tour.
and they're all single elimination.
Yeah.
And they have a process.
Yeah, I agree
And-
1,000%
yep,
with,
we're saying the
with
same
seeding.
thing.
Yeah, yeah.
We actually agreed.
Yeah, it can happen,
Can you
I
change
guess.
your position, please?
You know, 2012 is getting, we're all getting ready to die here in a minute. We're like 12, 21, 12 or something like that.
I don't know.
Mayan calendar,
So cover
sign of the
seeding.
apocalypse.
Yeah. So,
But yeah, the seeding, you know, we're both agreeing the same thing, that under the right circumstances, 100%. As it sits with open money tournaments,
Yeah.
just to me, it's just the way, and the way it plays to a lot of the play, you know, a lot of the people who, you know, a guy like Lou Figueroa,
yeah.
you know, Lou comes out, and that's one of the ways everybody talks about supporting tournaments. You know, that's how a lot of that guys do support the tournament
By
because,
playing.
yeah, like there's people I know that go play the U.S. Open every year that may, you know, they might never cash.
Yeah. Or never win a match.
Yeah, but you know, that's their thing. They support the Open by playing.
That is also the success of something like the Derby City.
Yeah,
You can pay a low entry fee and play an Efren Reyes,
Mm-hmm.
a short race.
sure.
Race to 7, 9 ball. Anything can happen.
Yeah,
You're sure as heck going to get your $100 worth.
yeah,
And that's, you know, and these are different because the U.S. Open is $500 worth. Now there's a difference. $100 is, yeah, why not? $500?
Yeah.
You know, it's a different. So, anyhow, it's just interesting. And but what I was saying is, you have to be careful of when you do something, how it affects everything in the industry. And another one, scheduling is getting to be a real bear.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get an event going. Okay, we were dancing around the tournaments in China. Then they come back here for the events in the U.S. that
And
where the ABP had a lot of the players tied up.
The 2 weeks before the Open were packed when
Yeah.
they came back. Or
Now
they came back for a week before.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're at the Open, and then they were all going to leave and go back to Asia.
Which now those two events have been,
Right.
the sanctioning's been pulled, so they probably will be canceled. Okay, now everybody's been dancing around bonus ball, and they postponed for a month.
Yep.
My gut feeling is they're going to analyze, say, do we really want to open the last 3 days of November and take 2 or 3 weeks, and then here you are into Christmas? I wouldn't be a bit surprised if
They
they cancel
postponed to January?
until January 15th.
Yeah.
But the problem is
I think that's the smart thing to do.
they're screwing up everybody's schedule. Now, if they're going to do that, they need to tell everybody. I was talking to Mark Cantrell, who does the Legends of Champions and, you know, the Johnny Archer, Nick Varner. He's tearing his hair out
Sure.
because he has to work in these little windows, and they keep taking the windows away.
Then move it.
Just like and you can't just leapfrog. We're having the same problem.
Yeah. Well,
We
you
can't have
set
a match tomorrow
You can't
because-
set something up. You have to have time to promote it.
Yeah, it's just
And it's at least 3 or 4 weeks. So now, if you do it, you know, and one thing that we, maybe once or twice at a goofy side events or something like that, we've had events not go off after we've announced them.
they were small events.
But they were,
Tippy Dave and those
yeah,
kind of stuff,
something
not
like
real
that.
events.
And so, but, you know, and from the beginning, that's one thing that I've always focused real hard on is if we announce something's going to happen, it happens.
So people can plan.
Right.
I
So-
totally.
And we've done that pretty well, and we've seen in the industry how
nobody
that
else lives
doesn't
by
work.
that standard.
Right, and
Well, look,
it's
even Barry had to do that.
yeah,
The U.S. Open moved 2 weeks because he moved venues.
Right.
That's why you had the conflict with the Challenge of Champions.
Right.
Which they couldn't move because there's you know.
Right.
And they worked it out. That's
Yeah.
great. You know, they made arrangements, and congratulations to Appleton. So his bad roll's easier because he wins
sure
25 up there. He made as much in a 4-man tournament
Sure,
that he will if he came through a 216-man field.
yeah, it's power of television, but also what 4 or 5 years ago that was a $50,000 event.
Yes, sir.
So, but going back to what we were talking about as far as scheduling before we were so rudely taken off topic
I know. I wish that guy would stop that.
with, you know, basically, it's been really nutty this year because basically we came out of May, and then we had a bunch of players. We had what, 2, 3 matches. We had a match before the Nationals.
Everybody had matches.
Right.
Which you had
Right.
you had Pat Fleming did that 8-ball invitational. You had a pay-per-view or two,
every
every
weekend
week.
for almost 3 months.
and that's going to kill this industry too.
Yeah. And so what happened was we went through all that, faded all that, and then everybody basically dispersed for the summer. And then it started back about September, and it's just been every weekend. And with a lot of international play thrown in. And now, you know, with the bonus ball thing, we couldn't schedule anything, you know, say we wanted to do something a month from now, that's November, you know, 25th or whatever. It's just for example.
Yeah.
Well, up until last week,
Bonus ball was going to
that
be
was
playing.
going to be bonus ball. And we don't know who's
Yeah.
playing, so we don't know who we can talk to.
It's pretty bad. And now bonus ball, I understand they were going to be 8 4-man teams. Now they're 12 3-man teams.
Yeah.
So I wish them the best. There's activity at their studio. I drove by the studio coming here, so everything's moving along as planned, I guess, by their plan. But they need to communicate, and by golly, if they're going to decide to change their dates, they better let people know. And it's not only hurting us. People are buying plane tickets that are no longer any good. I mean, they're running into the same trap that the Macabena is running into.
Well, I get the feeling that, yeah, it's going to be a rocky road.
It's going to be tough action. But
And like he talked about, for life of me, I don't understand why the hell you would start basically
In Christmas.
December.
nobody has ever scheduled any real tournaments between Thanksgiving and Christmas, with the exception of the old Reno tournaments. They were established.
That had been there for 20 years, and
that
they're
was
no
their
longer
second,
there
you're right.
anymore.
And isn't Turning Stone right in that time frame?
There's usually Turning Stone is in
But
December.
that's really a regional tournament.
Right.
If you really look, it has
And
evolved
and
into a
it's-
points
and
event.
it's always been there.
Yeah.
But
And Zuglin does a good job. So
the
It's a good follow.
and it's 25,000 at it.
that's yeah.
But yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because the only way it does make sense to me is if they really don't give a shit what the launch is like. If they're launching this just to work the bugs out for the first couple of,
I agree.
you know, if they're willing to take 30 to 40 days,
Trial.
yeah,
Yeah.
to put it together,
And would I
work,
do that? I would probably want to do that.
yeah, to
just-
work the
yeah,
bugs out,
yeah.
and then,
Sure.
you know,
But by the same token, they have to be cognizant of the rest of the industry.
no, they don't.
Well, yes, they do.
Why?
Well, I just think that's the way. You're
I
supposed to
mean,
do
that's
business.
you know, ideally you would
Yeah.
hope so, and to this point, I think they've done. Yeah, I don't think they've been bad about anything.
No, I haven't. But it's interesting. It's like for instance, now the Swanee tournament I'm going to have probably February 23rd and 24th. That's the tentative dates. It's not going to affect that. But the U.S. Bar Table championships in Reno is the 25th through like March 3rd, and we usually have a handful, 6 or 8 top players. You know, Shane, Darren.
Well, Shane and Darren, as far as I know, aren't in this thing. So
I don't know if Darren is or not. I know
I haven't
Shane's
seen
not.
him.
It could change the complexion of things like the U.S. Bar Table. I actually
oh,
have
it's
thought,
it's gonna change a lot of stuff,
if people
because these guys are gonna be, you know,
Well,
tied up.
Except how you like this one. You know, I'm pretty creative. I have an imagination that won't quit.
Uh-huh.
So if bonus ball is playing this week, now they're basically, I understand, with 12 teams, you're going to have like 4 teams playing.
How many
8
12
teams
teams?
are off.
It's not 12 teams.
There's, yeah, he's changed to 12 teams. 6 northern teams, 6 southern teams, 3-man teams. That's the way their schedule was posted on AZ
Okay.
Billiards.
Oh, it'll
So
change.
if there's
Don't
12
sweat it.
teams, then I know. So 8 teams won't be playing. I was thinking, you know, I'm going to see how much it costs to
Are you
charter
sure?
a bus.
Because I don't think so, man.
Somebody will respond on the chat and say, yep, that's what the thread on AZ Billiards said.
Because the schedule that I
3-man
saw,
teams now.
yeah, but the schedule that I saw had, I want to say, like 4 or 5 matches each weekend.
I'm not sure how many matches.
Because they play in 4 days. They're playing 1 match on Thursday,
The first week they were playing everybody. Then after
one
that, it's
one
supposed to
match
be
on
like,
Thursday at 7, 1 match on Friday at 7.
okay, could
Friday is 1 match at like 3 or 2, and then another at 7. Saturday is 2 matches a day, and Sunday is 2
be.
matches a day.
I think when it gets
So that's 6 matches total.
yeah, which is 12 teams if you do that. But they were talking about you play one weekend, you're off one weekend. It was in there somewhere. I was reading Barry Bremner's VPBB is his.
I know. I
is
read
he-
all that stuff too, and
It's
when
confusing,
when I
you know.
read this and I look at this,
Yeah.
they, you know, and I think what it is it's like memo.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
they need
Public
version
memos.
1.0.02. You know, it's like,
But anyhow, what I was thinking of doing, since we're going to have all these champions here, see if we can charter a bus, and the ones that aren't playing, get one of those 26 passenger jobbers and just drive up to Reno, and charge them whatever it costs, $50 each way, beach flying, and it'd be kind of, who knows?
who the fuck wants to ride on a bus for 8 hours each way?
Oh,
It costs $100 to fly there.
it costs more than that. And they're not going to know till you'd have to do it right at the end. See, when you do that last minute flying, it's like $150 each way. That's $300. If they can
It's
ride
not $300 to fly to Reno.
If you were to buy a ticket right now to fly in 4 days, now you got don't plan out 2 weeks in advance,
Why not?
because this would be short notice.
But they're going to know their schedule.
pool players never buy their tickets in advance. Okay?
It's not my fault.
No, it's not mine either. Okay. Either way, we'll check it out. But anyhow, it's
A
it's
bus.
A thought. Well, see, I like driving.
A bus.
And listen, if a guy's really an asshole, you can just leave him in Tonopah.
Totem Paul, right.
Just have-
Totem Paul.
Oh, well. So anyhow, the bottom line is this scheduling is getting to be like a jigsaw puzzle. I mean, it always has been, but it's getting to be a broken jigsaw. It's a jigsaw puzzle with pieces missing.
Yeah, that's,
so
I'll
whatever.
be damned.
It
I mean,
is what it
honestly,
is.
I'm kind of,
They're burning up people is what's happening. So, like, just you're gonna say, so what? Well, just it is what it is. But no, you can't make plans. I'm
Well,
getting frustrated.
the only way you can make plans is just say, hey, look, you got to go. Like for us, if I wanted to make an event, and it was one that we had to, if I know this guy's going to be in the United States and this guy's going to be in the United States, hey, look, we're going to pay you X, Y, Z,
Sure. And
and you're going to commit to us, and that's it.
Yep.
And then, and if it gets to, if it gets, and I think that's where we're headed. I think we're headed to the point where basically you're going to have to go out and cherry pick your guys and say, look, there it is. That's the money. You can go chase a $7,000 added tournament if you want to. And honestly, that's something that I've been a little lax on, and it's because there's a couple of players we want, and they're two. Obviously, we always want the best players.
sure.
And so these guys, their schedules are a bitch.
And they have to be players that recognize, because we could have one of these Chinese champions. I don't know if we'd sell 3 people because nobody knows who they are. They play like God, but nobody knows. Look what's going on at the U.S. Open. How about this Wan Can kid, 18 years old? Who knows even who he is? He's knocked off champions. He's chewing them for breakfast.
Yeah.
In fact, there's a lot of funny things going on this year at the U.S. Open. You got, Brandon Schuff beat somebody, a really good player, and his next match, Johnny Archer, 11-2 or something like that. And then his next match, now he's beating Ralph Souquet. And they're seesawish. A lot of momentum
it's
swings.
rack your own 9-ball.
Yes, rack your own 9-ball. So I don't know. Anyhow, if anybody out there knows a couple of really strong players or one strong player that wants to play on a tar match, since the Chinese schedule or Philippine schedule just recently changed, you have them get in touch with me or Justin. Just email us.
It's a little more involved than that. But
well, it's a start. It might be in Appleton. All these guys has changed.
well, no, I mean, I'm talking to these guys.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't tell you everything I do.
Well, I hope
I understand
not.
that it's impossible that you may not know everything going on.
No, there's a lot of things I don't want to know. But the schedule's just recently changed drastically, and it should open some.
And the reason I say that is, if we want you for a tar match, I will call you.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know how many times I want to play on tar. Who the fuck are you?
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard of you before, and it's like,
if we want nobodies, we got 2 of them sitting here. And we can play.
Exactly. Meanwhile,
I'll
Mark's
be
trying to get me 500 emails a week over here talking about I'll play on tar. I'll play for 3,000.
I didn't quite mean it that way. But some of these I was more relying.
I got a buddy. He won the APA Sevens tournament.
No, I was aiming at this because there's a tremendous amount of European players this year at the U.S. Open. They're already in this country, and they probably some of them were probably scheduled to go.
That doesn't do us any good now, anyway.
No.
Well, you gonna do a tar match in 2 weeks?
It's your end. You take care of it.
No, but I mean, even if Darren Appleton called me up and he said, "Hey, I'm going to play a set with Efren, but we got to do it next Wednesday."
Excuse me.
Doesn't do us any good.
No, you're right. No. Anyhow, enough of the scheduling talk, but it's pretty serious stuff.
Yeah, it's a big deal.
It's backbreaking.
It's a very big deal. And what really makes it suck harder is when they schedule this shit and then it doesn't work. Then they change it.
Well, see, then you lose 2 ends because you lose your dance around their first dates. Now you got to dance around their second dates, which means you've blown 3 months.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
And there's only 3 months in a year.
Yeah, that's right. They call them quarters.
Really?
There's only 3 months in a year. I like that.
Somebody asked us, well, it was Mr. Celtic, what's the deal on 10-foot tables? The buzz is slowed down. We actually have a 10-foot
Just
table.
because I think that's what it was.
I think they'll work for things like the Derby City. There was a couple of comments on, well, they should have the straight pool at the Derby City on a 10-foot table, and the old standard says, I ain't watching. It's not. How can you play a game, and I agree, how can you play a game like that with a table that you can't ever practice on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, now I think they're okay when you get all the top guns and they play the 10-ball challenge on a 10-footer or something.
Sure.
It's a specialty. It's a trick event. 16 players, $1,000 entry fee. It's not for you and me. And
Yeah, I think that's what the table's good for.
yeah,
One-on-one matches, maybe. Honestly,
we have one. It's sitting 6 miles from here.
yeah.
It's going to
wouldn't-
have to go back because they only have 4 of them, so it's got to
Yeah.
go back to Derby City
January.
in January. But so I mean,
I wouldn't mind doing one on it.
who would we have?
You know, to me, it's just I don't. Here's you know, the only question I want to know in my mind is how will it affect the buys? Will more people buy it? Will less people buy it? I don't think it's going to have an effect either way.
I don't either because they're watching the players. And Pat Fleming's thing was on a 10-foot, the 8-ball invitational, and I'm understanding their One Pocket Invitational, which is scheduled for March or something like that, is going to be on a 10-foot.
Yes,
That would change. That changes the game so much.
especially one pocket.
Especially One Pocket. But it's interesting. These guys are the best players in the world, but it changes the game.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah,
it's just like going from an 8-foot table to a 9-foot table. It changes the game.
yeah.
You know, so who knows? We'll see. Earl seems to be was doing some damage in the U.S. Open. I haven't followed him. A lot of guns are gone. Rodney Morris 2-0. A round or two ago, somebody posted there was 13 Americans left on the winner's side out of 35 players. I think that number's been whittled down.
I don't know. I'm
know,
sitting here looking at the brackets in the final.
About an hour ago, yeah.
As of an hour ago, which I don't know if they're playing tonight or not, you got Alex and Jungli Chang, Johnny Archer and Albin Oshan,
Now some of those guys are playing now.
Efren and Wang Can, and Niels and Orculio.
Orcullo is 10, Niels is 7.
You got Jose and Earl.
Oh, Jose just beat. Who did he just beat? 11-10. Strong player.
Raj.
No,
Yes.
was it Rod?
Right
Okay,
here.
Okay. Jeez.
I'm looking dead at
Okay.
the bracket, and he's like, "No, you're wrong."
Okay, I argue with GPSs too.
Corey Dool. Corey's got a nice run going. That's good for him.
He's losing to no. That's
Jason Shaw, a Brit player.
Chris Melling's beating Shane right now 3-1. That's a winner's bracket. Yes.
Hey, you know, Chris is a great player.
Chris is a strong player, but yeah, Chris. You know, I think he's got super potential. I mean, he's
Ronnie
Not
Alcano and Hee-Win Lee.
now isn't that who won our tournament?
That was Lowly Win. Was that
It's
is
the
that,
same
is that
person.
same
There was
guy?
a big thread on, is that the same guy?
I really don't understand. I don't know the proper way to
The Chinese names.
the structure.
It's
and
posted on AZ Billiards. I can't remember what the guy said because
So-
they were asking about it. But
I try not to come off as much of a big dumb American as I am, but
yeah, well,
great players.
and there's a tremendous amount of talent, and you know. So. In Vegas, we're having the International Cue Collectors Show on November 3rd, and open to the public on Saturday. They have their own private thing on Friday. They have their golf tournament or whatever on Thursday. But out at the Red Rock, if anybody's listening that wants to jump on a plane, come out and look at some of the best cues in the world,
Yeah,
you were there a couple of times.
it's a great show.
Yeah,
It'll
I'm
be
actually
a
gonna-
real good show in Vegas too.
I'm actually going to go help them and work the door for them.
Ernie Gutierrez is coming out, from what I understand.
Pete Tonkin, Gilbert. He rattled off a name of all the, you know.
Searing, Dennis is going to be
Oh.
here. It's just a great show, man. If you
Should
like
be
cues,
Samsara
if
before-
you, I'm trying to talk Rogan into making it out here for a day. I don't know. I'm sure he's busy, but
This is supposed to be quite the thing. I've never been to one of their shows. They've had one here before when Bill Stroud ran it. They ran it out at Lake Las Vegas.
Yeah.
But this one's at the Red Rock, and it'll be interesting. But it's I don't know how I don't know how the high-end Q market or the collectible market is. I don't know if it's getting pinched by the economy. I think
it's one of those things
it's-
that I think the high end will always.
Yep. It's a different stratosphere. Sure.
You know, the thing what gets hammered is the $2,000 cue.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's been that way for the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing is there's so many cue makers now. It's getting so diluted.
It's crazy.
And I'm a firm believer that it hurts the industry because you get new cue buyers who just simply, you know, they get excited about cues and they want a nice cue, and you know, they go out and they're sold on this custom cue that, you know, it'll hold its value, it'll do this, blah blah blah. You know, they spend $1,500 to $3,000 on this cue.
It's like new car buyer remorse.
And then they go try to sell it,
Yep.
and they find out sometimes you can't even give them away.
Well, half the value is just gone, just like that.
I mean,
Just like a new car,
you
just
can't.
poof.
There's several cues I've seen that I know sold for $3,000 new. I wouldn't give you $1,500 for them on a bet.
Yeah.
Because then I'm stuck for $1,500. You
Yeah,
know what
no.
I mean? It's
I know. I totally agree.
and there's a lot of those makers out there,
It's,
and
and I'm gonna circle this back to, it's feast or famine. Same thing with all these tournaments and everything, and all these, everything going on, because it dilutes the markets that nobody can do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
and unfortunately, I don't see any way. You know, the only thing that's going to happen is
I
you
don't know how you
just.
get out of it.
Well,
can't tell
the only way you can get out of it is it has to go until people just starve and die off. You know, it really is. It's Darwinism, man. I mean, whoever survives will be the one left. And
Sure, but then all of a sudden it's just you know, and then it'll grow up again, and the same thing can happen again. It's
well,
it's,
yeah, well, I'm
history
sure it will.
repeats itself, and
I'm sure it will. Right now, we're just in one of those times where, you know, it's.
Well, let's take the opposite viewpoint, the EPBF. Now, the EPBF is the same position that the BCA is in this country. They're the representative for the hierarchy of how pool tournaments and da-da-da-da. They actually put a post out of somewhere that if you're from the European countries and you want to go to the U.S. Open, you must be an EPBF member. If not, they can sanction you up to 3 years. And I'm thinking, wow, that's kind of strong. Now, whether it happened or not, I don't know. But their philosophy is, if you're going to play pool at the level that you should be if you're playing in the U.S. Open, you need to go through the system.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean that if I'm from one of those countries and I play in the EBPF tournaments, as long as I'm a member of the EBPF, I can still go pay my own entry fee and all that bullshit.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
But if
I got
you're-
no problem with that.
Well, but
If you play in their tournaments.
what happens if you're just Joe? You play pool and I just want to go over there and play. They're
Fine.
basically saying
Then
can't.
you're not a member. No, they're not.
Well, you have to
They're
be a
saying
member.
you can do whatever the hell you want to do, but if you want to be involved in things our organization does, then you have to be a member. They can't stop anybody from doing anything.
No, but if you're
The only thing they can do is sanction you from playing in the EBPF
correct.
events.
That's correct.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is fine.
Yeah, it's a little heavy-handed, and whether it'll
Yeah,
actually
but if
happen.
you know, everybody says we need structure, we need
Oh,
this, we
see,
need that.
you're right. That's one side. The U.S. is the exact opposite, and you say, how's that working out for you?
Right,
The
exactly.
U.S. system sucks.
Yeah.
So it's broken. It's going to stay broken until somebody
And
strong arms everybody.
and honestly, if you know, that's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's hell. It happened to us with Darren.
Yeah.
With
EPBF.
was that who it was? Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you know, you won't hear me complain about that.
Yeah.
I understand it, and honestly, the U.S. needs it badly.
We sure do.
And
We're very fractured, and you have
the difference being, it needs to be legitimate, in stone, common sense.
proper.
Yeah.
It just needs to
Not-
be proper, not
This is how
Yeah.
you know someone with a giant conflict of interest
Yeah.
feels this week.
This is not ABP bashing. It's just there has to be a proper way of doing it. Now CJ keeps talking about doing some things, and I sometimes I'm wondering what he's saying.
I can't understand it.
It's
I had to stop reading this stuff,
it's
man.
getting pretty. You know, the boxing concept for
Yeah, I
pool
mean,
is not a new concept.
who-
Joe
who-
Corper and I
who
had
would
that
ever-
discussion
who-
30 years ago.
Who would ever come up with that? One-on-one matches
Yeah,
with
yeah.
guys. I mean, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's genius. God, I wish I would have thought of that.
Yeah, but you know, I wish him well. He's doing things in not secret, but I'll probably be talking to him again. I had a conversation with him a couple of weeks ago. I just don't know what this. I'm an eternal optimist, but I'll tell you what, this turmoil is getting to be very unsettling because you can't plan anything when everybody's moving around and changing their dates, and it handicaps something down the road a year.
Well, you know, one way to fix this, and bonus ball is going to. This is one of the reasons I'm hoping it kind of works and it's stable because it will stop a lot of this shit.
Yeah, it gives a benchmark,
Yeah.
a base.
And the way you stop all this crap is very simple. It's money.
I was going to say the thing. All it takes is a little money.
That's it. And you know, if
Actually, it'd take a lot of money.
Nah, I don't think it would take that much because you don't need that many people.
Well, you and I have had these discussions about.
Personally, I think, you know, there's nothing saying you couldn't go out and sign 6 guys and say, look, you know, I'm going to pay you $5,000 up front,
Sure.
and you're going to guarantee me 3 weekends,
Yeah.
and then there'll be prize money when you play those weekends.
Yeah. You could do anything. I mean, we've had this discussion, you know, on how to make a quote tour that could survive.
And right
And it's
there,
not
so
like
you've
it's
got
being done
so
now.
you've got 30 grand and 6 guys at 3 weekends. So what is that? Depending on how you work it, that'd be like 6 or 8 matches, depending on how you weave it around. So it'd be 6 matches. So yeah, it's you know, it's 6 of one, half a dozen
Yeah,
of another.
no,
but you're guaranteeing yourself
Yeah.
matches.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you're being selective, and it's just the current situation. This industry in America is heading for the cliff, and something or somebody will survive. So let's just see where it shakes out.
Here's a perfect thing. Guy says, I would want to watch Haar in the Tar match. I
Dennis
like Dennis Haar. He's
Yeah.
a great player, man.
Surprisingly, yeah, but nobody knows who he is.
But I mean, how can we risk $6,000?
Yeah. Well,
I'm not being an asshole. I'm
this is
asking a
factual.
legitimate question.
This is a legitimate question. That's where, eventually, and we've had some really encouraging discussions on how to get our back end to work, where it's a subscription-based thing. Now you can do those type of things.
Yeah.
If we had 1,000 people out there paying $10 a month, hey, we can take a free shot once a month.
Sure.
You know,
Yeah.
and develop some stars and make some things happen.
Right.
So, you know, it's not all gloom and doom. Just because we talk about these things doesn't mean we're wallowing in the mud. It's a reality. Let's make it better.
But that's, you know, I like to see guys out here playing. Brandon Schuff, Jesse Engel. I mean, Brandon Schuff's rapidly approaching the point where
He's right up.
I think, you know, all he needs is a win.
He's just where Deshane was 2 years ago when Deshane snapped off that
Yeah.
ultimate 10 ball. He came from who to wow.
Yeah. All
I mean, you know.
Brandon needs now, I think he's the next breakthrough guy.
I would agree with you.
All he needs is he just needs to win that one big one, and then
You know, but he's not an overnight wonder.
no, Brandon's been playing pool a long time.
He came out.
which is what makes him strong.
He came out to our 2004
Yeah.
9 ball. He won the spot from the East Coast. We gave a top league player or something. That's when I met him. Well, that's 8 years ago.
Yeah.
So he played decent speed 8 years ago, and he just keeps getting better and better and better. You know, so in fact, we were talking about him. Well, I don't know who won between him and Souquet, but he was leading Souquet. I don't care how bad Ralph Souquet plays. You got to play pretty damn good to beat him. He just doesn't make those mistakes.
No.
So you have to beat him. He's never going to beat himself, even on an off day, you know. So who knows? But when I was watching the few times that I've watched the TV table, breaking pretty easily, and the pocket, it was a soft table.
Yeah.
I saw a shot where it was Appleton, and man, oh man, he hit almost the middle diamond from a ball that was like 8 inches out. I didn't think it was going to go, and it just went right in. He says, holy mackerel. But he rolled it. He didn't fire it. Big difference. So that was with Efren, I believe. Didn't do him any good.
Right.
You were gonna talk about the bad rolls and the discussions of?
No, I was just looking through the Facebook postings of a lot of players, and it's more so than normal. That at least that I remember, just a lot of blah, the rolls, this and that, and even a couple of them were like, "Oh, my opponent played good, but he got the rolls," and it's just it's. It just seems like, and I think a lot of it may just have to do with social media making the shit more accessible.
Too accessible, yeah. Yeah, that's probably true.
But I don't think it helps. We talk about the game or this or that, but it just there are cliches in sports for a reason. Just here to help the ball club. We gave it our all. We just came up a little short.
Yeah.
Those are there for a reason.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So where do we go from here? What's next? The only thing I can ramble a little bit about our nationals. In
Well,
July,
let's talk about the things that. Here's the things I'm working on, and we're talking about the USA Pool League stuff. I just did some video work with Mark Estes, and did you look at that?
I did.
Yeah. And
here's a little 3-minute thing to put on our website.
well, it's just that we're gonna start putting a lot of, I'm a believer in the USA Pool League, man. To me, it's the only thing that makes sense, and because I can sit down on paper and explain to you in numbers how it makes sense, how it survives, without saying all we need is $2 million to start.
Yeah. No, it really is a well thought out, functioning system. Has one of the best handicapping systems there is, because it's got like 20 years history on the system, and over 70% of the matches go hill historically. It's a rating number. You either are as low as a 30 to as high as a 125.
And it's a ball count league,
Yeah.
so you played a ball count.
But it has a lot of little intricacies that really keep it honest. And and it's tough. If I was to if which I'm not, but if I was a 125 and I had to play a 60, if he wins 1 or 2 games, that's tough because each game is worth 14 points. It's tough. You have to shoot your butt off if you're spotting a lot of weight, and that's good. It keeps you from sandbagging.
Right.
It really does eliminate a lot of the sandbagging, just because whoever wins the last game, if it's a hill situation, wins. Even if I'm confusing people, and I don't want to get into how to keep score on it. It's very simple. It's extremely easy, very logical, and we're going to make some videotapes on this is how you score, and this is why you score like this, and this. All you got to do is track the misses. It's an extremely simple system, but financially it does work because it pays out 50% back to the local level. The league operator can actually make a living at it. So This is an opportunity for people that love pool to make a living at it.
Well, it incentivizes the league operator, and it gives the player, an opportunity to play, a good league, great national events, and it gives a league operator incentive to go out and grow his league.
Sure.
And it's just.
Well, that's the reason.
It makes sense across the board, and there's also, some of the money goes to fund, not necessarily pros or pro events or whatever, but it goes to fund things for the league. You can do tournaments, you can do pro events, you can do whatever the hell you want, and it's self-sustaining. You're not having to rely on a sponsor or an angel investor or someone who can change their mind at any minute and put you out of business.
This is it. That's the beauty of it. It has once you get the structure going, it maintains itself.
Yeah, it's
a very good system. And the reason the APA is as dominant as they are, one of the main reasons is because they have franchises and they are working for themselves.
Right.
That's their
the
incentive.
league owners have the incentive.
Yeah.
If they grow their league, they make more money.
Right. Now the APA.
That's a great concept, right?
They were there at the right time. Yeah. I don't think that could be duplicated today. But I think the USA Pool League has taken the basic concept, which is that's just normal business concept, and improved upon it.
Yeah.
And because it doesn't cost anything to be a league operator, it doesn't cost anything to join the league, so you can try it out for $0.
Yeah.
How strong is that?
Yeah.
So we're holding, you know, in the next 10 years, I think USA Pool League could be a dominant player. It's not going to happen overnight. Wasn't designed to happen overnight. And everybody's got these, oh, let's try this, oh, let's try that. And we're going to be the turtle.
Yeah.
We're just going to keep moseying along, which is more or less my style. You know, I don't know if you, I mean, I try not to be real flashy. I just do what we say we're going to do. And they come back and say, wow, he's still doing that.
Right.
Yep, just like he said he would. So it's interesting that Justin's, I mean, you know, he's looked at all, he's aware of most of the league concepts out there, and he just kind of just says, man, this really makes sense.
No, it really does. It's the only thing that makes sense to me for pro pool.
Yeah, it's got to be, and it is one of the only leagues that can actually tie amateurs and pros together.
And it gives something that pool needs so bad, and that is structure and cradle to grave. If a guy walks into a pool room who's never hit a ball before and looks at you and goes, how do I become a professional player?
Yeah.
What do you tell him now? Go pay your entry fee? You know, because that's what it is.
Yeah.
But, you know, with something like this in place, okay, here, you're a 30 or you're a 50. You're going to start at a 50.
Yeah.
We'll see where you're at. You go to there, you know, and then it's what people talk about.
It causes you to improve. A lot of leagues, they don't want you to improve.
No.
This one causes you to improve. And it's, no, I'm really happy with it. And if anybody out there is interested, all they can do is contact our office. It's really Mark Estes you need to talk to, but if you just call our office, which is just CSI or BCA Pool League or USA Pool League, but we're easy to find.
Pick an alphabet combination.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's something that I've been working on is that. And
you've been doing some things for the shooting people.
yeah, I've been doing local commercial for a local range, which I gotta finish that up this week. But another thing I'm looking forward to, the U.S. bar table in the new venue.
Oh,
The
last
new
year.
venue's awesome. So cool. Very nice.
Yeah.
Really changed the whole complexion of that event.
We're going to have 40 bar tables, 10 9-footers because we do a thing with the World PPA, which is a little local thing out of the San Francisco Bay area. We're going to green fees this year,
Oh, that's awesome.
and we're going every event will have second chances. If you do not cash in the 10 ball, there's a $500 added 10 ball event.
Cool.
If you do not cash in the 9 ball, there's a $500 added 9 ball.
Cool.
And without green fees, and we're going to have minis. It really is going to be way more friendly to the guy that wants to get a little froggy and try his mettle against some of the best players in the world. And when he gets his head knocked in the dirt, he can lick his wounds and go out and play in the second chance.
Yeah.
And play in minis.
Yeah.
And, you know, this is another tournament.
So the tables are all going to be open the whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
No tokens.
No tokens. And
You
plus,
hear that, Toasty? No more token.
Yeah. Well, actually, you should say that to Stevie Moore.
Yeah.
But,
Oh.
but that's not the reason it happened. We had to get to a certain mass to get to that large. You didn't want to remember that, did you? Everybody's, people are saying, what the hell is he talking about?
Nothing. Nothing. Not a damn thing.
But,
It's been a year. I almost had it forgotten.
yeah, but this is, you know, this will be the first tournament that I actually am going to partake in of any consequence at Reno, because last year I was there the first day and spent the next 6 days in the hospital. I just couldn't put up with you pool players. You made me very ill. And that's the first time I've ever been
It was
in
a
the hospital.
peaceful week, too.
Boy, it was. It was for me. I just slept. And they stuck needles in me.
Yeah.
But, that, you know, the bar table, that is a cool event. U.S. Bar Table, it's a premium event. And this venue is awesome.
Check your scoreboard. How's my boy doing?
Shane is 5-4 over Chris Melling. Louis Ulrich is 4-3 over Mika. Now, I will tell you something. This live scoring is really cool, but it's way delayed. They're not keeping up on it. This is not a slam at Mike and
Go
Jerry.
Louis.
But Mika got, let's see, he got clobbered by somebody, and then Bustamante didn't fare very well. He took a hit that I wasn't expecting him to take, but winner breaks 9 ball, you know. I'm trying to remember, I lost his name. Had a 7-pack, I think. Toasty. Thorsten had, somebody said a 7-pack.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Balls are breaking.
Well, and that table is so soft. It really is. Oh, now, and then, as we speak, Nick Vandenberg is ahead of Thorsten 4-0. Shane put a whipping on that, Vandenberg. Nobody's, you know, Shane, somebody got 2, somebody got 3, somebody got 4. He's been the most consistent one. I haven't looked at Earl's score. I have a feeling this might be the year of Earl. I know you said, yeah, well, wait till he gets a tough match.
Do what he does every year. He's going to make a
Self-destructs.
big charge. He's going to get down to like the final 16, 24
Where
guys,
is he now?
and then explode.
This is 2-4, so there's.
I got to admit, though, I think it'd be pretty cool for Earl to win.
Oh, I think it'd be great. You know, we had our problems with Earl. Big deal. Well, he's playing Jose, and right now on the score sheet it's 0-0. They haven't started yet. That's the TV match. I like Earl. I love Earl's game. What I really love is when Earl's steamrolling. He's so fun to watch.
He's fun to watch, but he makes me insane.
Yeah, well, he just goes wacko.
Yeah.
That's all. It's no big deal. We're still working on our Rio event for the BCA Pool League Nationals. It's getting better. We've got some more things that we're working on. 2 more that could be really interesting. I'm meeting with some people to see if they're going to help sponsor the U.S. Open 8-ball, and if they do, then it will be a points event. So
Oh, that's cool.
that's my goal, is to make so we have 2 points events back to back: U.S. Open 10-ball, U.S. Open 8-ball.
Nice.
And with the U.S. Open 1 pocket, you got 60,000 added
Yeah.
in 9 days.
So it would be 25, 25, 10?
Well, it'd be 10 first. The 1 pocket's first.
Yeah,
10,
10.
25, 25.
Beautiful.
The 8-ball will be the last event because it's during the 8-ball teams, which is our last event. No admittance except for VIP seats. So it's going to be in the same room as our amateurs with no walls.
Greens fees at the Nationals this year?
99% sure. We're just finalizing the numbers. I would say, yeah, we're going green fees. And that hasn't really been announced, but that's what we're going to do.
So nice.
It's so much easier. It just really is. I know you're going to have everybody counting beans. Well, what happens if I go 2-0? Yeah, but you get second chances in every event. You get minis at no charge. You get to watch the pros at no charge. I mean, this is the Super Bowl of pool.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
Alan Hopkins does have an
don't
event.
care if it costs me $25 to $50 more. It's worth it not having to with tokens.
Oh, I agree. And we love it because now you don't need table techs. Because
Yeah.
you just open the tables. You don't need the security of money and coins and tokens and broken machines and, you know.
It makes it so much easier.
Oh, I totally agree.
Now, and you are going to get a big backlash. You're going to get people going,
But what if?
Now he's making $20 million on that tournament.
Really? You want me to take a pay cut?
Right, yeah, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I
Yeah.
forgot.
Oh, I know. We had a local guy.
I forgot.
I hate to bring it. It's funny when people say, I know for a fact that Mark Griffin, that coin is over $1 million. I pulled him aside because he's a local guy and says, you know, you got to get your facts straight or you're just going to be barred from everything we ever do because you put out that kind of inflammatory, you're so far off, it's stupid. You're not, I mean, it's, well, I think to get his number, we had to have every table going 24 hours a day at 10 games an hour. Well, what if? Okay, what if?
That'd be great.
Wouldn't it?
Yeah, that'd be
It
great.
ain't never going to happen.
Yeah, we have a bigger studio.
Yeah, we would. I'd have a newer car.
Exactly.
It's what some of the comments that people say, you got to think about what you're saying. Because people hear it. They're snippets. They're sound bites.
You can't stop
No.
that though.
No, you can't.
I mean, it's anymore. It's like what I
It's-
told you about earlier this week about somebody. Guy tells me, "Oh, I heard XYZ said this about you on a stream or whatever." What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything's changing. For instance, what do you think is going to happen to the people that make DVDs and all that stuff? Because I'll tell you what, in another 5 years, everything's going to be in the cloud. Everything's going to be
Well,
in
it's
the
there
cloud.
now. Nobody
I know,
makes
but it's just-
DVDs anymore.
Well, I know, but it's just, what's going to happen to Best Buy? What's going to happen to all these things? You know?
No, it's like everything else. It just changes. Hey,
But you
there's
can't-
no more record stores.
Well, actually, that's not true. There are a couple of record stores, a couple of used records.
Yeah. That's what. How
Yeah.
many? How about Tower Records? You want to buy a Tower Records franchise?
Yeah. No, it's
That's what I'm saying. Hey,
this
I mean,
technology, but it's
it's
going to get down to where
you evolve and transition, or you die.
and the anchor stores and all these malls are going to be closed, and
Sure.
then the malls are going to close.
it's that way now.
I'm painting a glim picture
it's
here, but
that
if you're
way
really
now.
not careful,
Well, no. So what happens is all that money goes somewhere. Mm-hmm. Doesn't just go away. It changes form. Mm-hmm. I mean, So
Well, there's where we're going to find our
well,
sponsor
what-
for the pool
So
tour.
what's the smart thing to do? Don't be the asshole investing in malls.
Yeah,
You know, I mean,
it's you know, the only thing that's constant is change.
Yeah.
But it's this next generation of change is going to be mind-boggling, the amount that it changes. You know, TV, you're going to be watching TV on your computer, you already are, but it's going to be a whole different thing. But then you say, okay, then we'll have a pool channel, sure. And how is anybody going to find you among the 9,000 channels that are out there? It's just, everything is so, and for a guy that doesn't like technology, kind of like me, I am lost.
hey man, I've been saying
I
it
am
forever.
lost.
I've been saying it forever. We only need 1,000 people.
I know,
That's it. 1,000 people,
yeah.
and we're halfway there.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Sometimes. All right, I don't have any more to say. I don't even want to listen to you say anything else. Surprise.
Say goodnight, Mark.
Well, good night, but we appreciate everybody. Send some comments. Pool, you know, pool's not going away. It may shrink for a while, but it ain't going away. So let's make it get better. That's it.
You done?
I'm done.
You sure?
Yes, sir. Quickly turn it off.
You know what? You say anything about Alaska yet?
It's still there.
Okay. See you, kids.
Yeah, thank you. Good night.